Hi guys, today I have a super exciting video for you guys. What to expect when you start dialysis. This is something that I really wish that I could have watched when I started dialysis, because it was honestly such a scary moment for me. Like, the word dialysis, like, that's just not a word that you want to hear that you're gonna have to do. Literally, it was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, that I remember perfectly. I was visiting a friend at her apartment. We were in the pool, like just sitting like on the ledge. It was a hella hot day. My butt was burning on the concrete, and we were just talking, catching up, and I get like 10 calls on my phone. I keep hearing it going off, and I finally get up and I'm like, who is calling me? And it's my rheumatologist, it's my kidney doctor, it's my like nurses calling me like, Jane, your kidney function dropped below 15%. We gotta get you on dialysis. You gotta get here to Stanford. Oh my god, like, it was this big ordeal. I mean, obviously it's a big deal, but like, come on, I felt fine. So I talked to them for like 10 minutes and I start freaking out, and I'm like, oh my god, I never thought this day would come. I'm gonna be put on dialysis. Like, what? I did not think that that was ever gonna happen, and here we are, 2019, and I'm just like, fuck, I'm gonna be put on dialysis. And in my head, dialysis, the way that people talk about dialysis is like, it's painful, it's just a very negative experience, which, I mean, it's not ideal, but I definitely live a perfectly normal life on dialysis. So if you aren't familiar with dialysis, there are two types. There is hemo and there's peritoneal dialysis. Hemo is the one where typically you go into the clinic 3 times a week, and they hook you up through your vein and they fully flush all the blood in your body. The blood goes in a machine, it cleans it, and it puts it back in your body, and it repeats the process a couple hours, a couple times a week. There's also a home hemodialysis where you can do it at home. So basically the same thing, flushes your blood through a big huge machine, still goes through your vein. Then there's peritoneal dialysis. It is, I would say, a simpler type of dialysis, but it definitely doesn't clean your blood as well as hemo, because the hemo is actually taking your blood out, cleaning it and putting it back in fresh and clean, you know. Peritoneal is a fluid that is basically sugar water, goes into your belly, your peritoneal, and oh my god, there's a person outside my window. Anyway, it goes into your body, it sits in there, dwells for, typically it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It just depends on your weight, your age, like everything. Dwells, which means it just sits in there, so you kind of have a little poochy belly, and then it drains, and then it fills back up, and you repeat that process. I use what's called a cycler. So it's a machine at night. I hook up, I go to bed, I wake up, I disconnect. All my exchanges, which means fill, dwell, drain, fill, dwell, drain, happens at night. 4 rounds of that, a total of about 9 hours. And I fill up, it started out, I filled up with 1,500 milliliters of fluid, and then it turned to like 18, and then 2,000. Now we're like 2,100. So it gradually got more throughout the year, but that's because obviously we need more filtration of my blood, which is fine. Honestly, at first, this is just my experience, at first, like, your body has to get used to the stretching of your belly. okay? It's uncomfortable. Like the first time I ever did it, it was very uncomfortable for me because my belly doesn't stick out far, and all of a sudden your belly just starts stretching, and it's not crazy, but you do look about 3 months pregnant, and it just kind of stretches your belly out, and you kind of just have to like get used to it. But honestly, over time you really do get used to it, and it doesn't hurt anymore. It's just maybe uncomfortable. If you do it just at night though, you don't even feel it. Like you just go to sleep, and when you're awake it's done, and you don't even have to ever feel like you're full. It's if you do manuals, which means that you personally drain it and fill it and let it dwell, disconnect, reconnect over and over and over throughout the day. That's when typically you feel it more, because typically you're eating throughout the day, you're drinking water, you're moving a lot, so you feel it more than at night with the cycler. My battery is going to die, so I'm gonna go charge it real quick and then I'll finish up. Alright, so I did go ahead and grab the bag. So this is for the cycler. This is a 2,000 milliliter bag. All that fluid is what goes in your belly. It connects right here to a tube in here. This is called a cassette. It connects to this, and it leads to the toilet, and that's where it drains into the toilet. This bag is a manual bag. It looks exactly the same. They have different sizes. It could be 15, this one's 1,500, there's 2,000, 3,000, and instead of it leading to the toilet, all you need is just this one bag, and let me untangle it. It connects to you right here, and it drains to this bag. This is where it would drain. You hang this up and you fill with this bag. So that's kind of the difference between those two. I started off for a month on this manual bag, and then since then I switched to the cycler bags. For the cycler bags, I actually use 2 of these and one 6,000 milliliter bag. So all that goes in me 2,000 at a time. If I could give you guys one tip of advice if you're starting dialysis, just don't be scared. Do all your treatments and make sure that you are logging all your blood pressures and your weights. Definitely before I got on dialysis, I never weighed myself because it's not like healthy to worry about your weight so much. So I never would weigh myself unless I went to the doctor. But with being on dialysis, you have to weigh yourself 2 times a day, right in the morning and right before you go to bed, or right before you start treatment. So that is definitely something I had to get used to, but I really had to do that. And also the blood pressure thing, you take your blood pressure the same time you take your weight, in the morning and night, and that determines which bag you use. So if you see, this has a green cap. There's green, yellow, and red, and these colors have to do with your blood pressure. So yellow is for lower blood pressure, like under 120. Green is for above, like 125 and up, and red is like extremely high blood pressure. The green and red bags pull out more fluid and pull out so it like kind of dehydrates you a little bit, and so you want to make sure you're drinking enough water. All this stuff is things like that your nurse will definitely go over with you. Just the basics is just to know that it's really not as scary as it seems, whether you're doing hemo or you're doing peritoneal. But I would highly suggest If your doctor is starting to talk to you about dialysis and you hate needles, to probably lean more towards peritoneal. You don't have to deal with needles unless you are getting your blood drawn, you know. Hemo is every day that you get hemo, you have to deal with a needle being put into your arm. And me personally, I have tiny little veins and they move, and I personally just don't like needles, and it just wouldn't be a good fit for me. Obviously, you decide, you and your doctor decide. That's where having a good communication with your doctor really comes in handy, because you want to be able to talk about it and find out what really would work for you and what really would make your treatment work, because you would actually do it. You don't want to be put on a treatment that you freaking hate and you have to do it every day and you hate it, so you skip it and then you feel sick, you know. So talk to your doctor, do your research, and just know it's really not as bad as it seems, I promise. Thank you guys for watching. If you ever need someone to talk to, vent to, whatever, I'll leave my Instagram handle down below. It's at Lupus Around the World, but it'll be also down below. Go ahead and send me a DM and we can chat, or leave a comment in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to you guys. I love talking to you guys, and you always bring a smile to my face whenever we do. So like, subscribe, share, comment down below. Find me on IG. Thanks, guys.